Hey, it's the part 2 of the video series on making multiplication easier using commutative, associative and distributive properties. So this is the part 2. In the part 1 we discussed some examples or some questions there. It's time for part 2. This is 16 times 12. Okay, so the one way could be that, okay, so you go on multiplying like this and then you find the answer, okay, whatever it is. Is there any quicker way, like we saw in the case of the first part in the part 1 of the video series? So if you look this number, and if I write it like this, that this is 16 times 10 plus 2, I can write 12 as 10 plus 2, and this will become, now this is 16 times 10 plus 16 times 2. Now could you tell what property we have actually used here? Pause and think over it. Now this is the distributive property of multiplication over addition. This is the multiplication, so this is the distribution of multiplication over addition, multiplication over addition. So this is multiplication, we are distributing it over addition, and that's why we got this one. So this is the distributive property. And those of you who don't know this distributive property, then please follow the video lecture on the same, like distributive property of multiplication. We have a separate video for that. Now if we solve this, this will be 160 plus 32, and this will give you 192. So this is one way. There can be another way for doing this. You can write it down 16 as 10 plus 6, and then you multiply this by 12. Again, this is, since addition is grouped together and we have multiplication here, and we have addition here. Addition is enclosed within a bracket, that is, it's grouped together, so it's again distributive property of multiplication over addition. This is the distributive property of multiplication over addition. And those of you who are getting confused, you can write it like this. This can be 12 times 10 plus 6. How? We used the commutative property that says that if A times B is there, then this will be equal to B times A. And that's exactly it is. So this is A times B, we can write it B times A. That's both are equal, right? So either you can skip this step, those who are very clear with this one, what we have to do, and straight jump to this step. Like this will be using distributive property of multiplication or addition. This will give you 12 times 10 plus 12 times 6. This will give you 120, this will give you 72, and this will give you 192. So both these answers are correct. Those of you who are not, we're getting confused how we are using distributive property here, you can write it like this, and we use the commutative property of multiplication, and then you can derive all other steps, and finally you will get the same answer in both the cases, whether you are using this first step or the second step. Let's move to the next one. This is minus 23 and 48. Can we do anything to make this multiplication easier? Then the first step is, like, that would be a very normal step, that you multiply 48 times 23, right? So then you can get the answer. That's not a quicker way. What can be the quicker way? So this will be minus 23 times 48. You can write 48 as 50 minus 2. Are you clear with that? 50 minus 2 will give you 48. So this will make 23 times 50, and this will give you, since you have minus sign here, and we are using the distributive property of multiplication over subtraction. Why? Because we have multiplication here, and within the bracket we have a subtraction. So this will be multiplication, distributive property of multiplication over subtraction, and that's why this minus sign will be here, and then you have minus 23 and times 2. We have put this minus sign here. Now if you solve this, this will give you 5 3 15, and then minus 115, and then this is minus, if you multiply minus 23 by 2, you'll get minus 46. Now this will be minus 115, and since outside the bracket you have minus sign, inside the bracket you have minus sign, so these two minus will become positive, and you have 46. And if you solve this, how much you'll get? You can subtract this. Since this is a bigger, the greater value, so of course you'll get there will be a minus sign in the answer. And if you subtract 115 from 46, you'll get 54, 59, and 69. So minus 69. This will be the answer. Now let's move to the next one. Minus 35 times minus 98. Think over it, pause the video and think how can you do some arrangements, whether using associative property, whether using commutative property, whether using distributive property, any one of those properties, or using all of those properties. What arrangements can you do to make your multiplication easier? Pause it and think over it. Now let's solve this. So this will be minus 35 times, this is minus 98. So since this is minus 98, you will do minus 100 plus 2. And why we are doing this minus 100 plus 2? It will make our multiplication easier. Using distributive property of multiplication or addition or subtraction, we can make our multiplication easier. So minus 100, because this is minus 98, and of course if you would have done 100 minus 2, then that would have given you 98, but we need minus 98, that's why minus 100 plus 2. And then using distributive property of multiplication or subtraction or addition, this will give you minus 35 times minus 100, then you have this plus sign here, and then you have minus 35 times 2. If you solve them, this will give you 3500, and then you have this 70, and then sorry, this is not 35, this is 3500, and this is 70. Sorry, this is minus sign here, this is minus sign here, because minus 35 times 2 will be minus 70, and you have plus sign here, that's why you'll get minus sign here, and this will be how much? If you subtract 3500 from 70, subtract 70 from 3500, this will give you, this is 0 here, and this will give you 3 and 3430, right? So you'll get 3430 as the answer. So this is the answer for this one. Again, what we did, we made minus 98 as minus 100 plus 2, then we used distributive property of multiplication over addition, and following these steps we got the answer 33,430. Now you have this question. Now observe this question very properly and focus on this, and you will find that you have 52 and here minus 52, as these are common. Okay, these are common numbers, but here you have a minus sign with the 52. So what we can do is we can write it like this. This is 52, this is times minus 8, right? So either you can write it like this, you can write it, here it is minus 52 times 2, so you can write it like 52 and times minus 2, because in any of these cases, whether you multiply minus 52 with 2 or you multiply 52 with minus 2, you'll get the same answer. That means if it's minus a times b, then this will be equal to a times minus b. There will be no difference in the answer. You can adjust your multiplication sign. Or there can be second step. You get those who are getting confused in this one, though there's no point, there's no proper point, there's no point of getting confused here, but still you can write it like 52 times this 8, and then you can write it like minus 1 times 52 times 2. What we did, we wrote 52 as minus 1 times 52, right? Both are same thing, because if you multiply minus 1 with 52, you'll get minus 52. And then like here you can proceed, take 52 as common. You take 52 as common. It's common, you take it out, and then this is multiplication, and then this is minus 8, and then you have minus 2, right? This 52 here, this 52 here, and in between this addition sign was there. So this was just the distributive property of multiplication over addition, and 52 was common here, and you can clearly say this. We can write it like this one. And for this one, it will be again take 52 out, and then times here, this is minus 8, and this is plus, this is minus 1 times 2, right? Solve this one. So this will be 52 times minus 10, and this will give you minus 520. This will be 52 times minus 8. You have 2 times minus 1 will be minus 2, therefore plus minus 2. This will be 52 times minus 8 minus 2, 52 times minus 10. This will give you minus 520, and both these answers are same, right? So these were the two steps that you can follow. Sorry, this was anyways, you can take it anyone first or second, anyone. So these are the two steps for the same multiplication, and in following those steps you can clearly see that you are getting the same answer.